Hey, this is David Rich again from housebarons.com. Today we're going to show you how to solder a copper pipe. You have plumbing all around your house, and most likely if your house isn't brand new, it has copper in it. And copper, knowing how to solder copper, it will save you untold costs in having to hire a plumber, especially for simple little repairs. So we're going to get to that right now. Okay, so for our first thing is we want to cut the pipe with these pipe cutters. Cut the length of pipe that we're going to need, and it's just a simple tool that you spin around the diameter of the pipe, and it has a cutting wheel on it, and that cutting wheel goes through the wall of the pipe as you go around it, and before you know it, you'll be through. And as it gets looser, you just go ahead and tighten the cutting wheel. You just keep tightening that, and before you know it, it's cutting a deeper groove round and round the pipe. All right, so now we have our length of pipe. Okay, once we get our length of pipe, we have to clean it up because the solder, these pipes are dirty, and you'll see we've got this emery cloth or emery paper or sand cloth that goes by a bunch of different names. And what we're doing is simply going around the edges, and it kind of deburrs any of the possible cut end of the pipe, and there you can tell it's real clean, and that's the important part. And then once I get it sanded, I don't touch it. It's fine. There's another tool you can use. It's basically the same thing, and this has a permanent wire bristle inside, and we can do it on this side, and you can basically do the same function that we just did on this end with the sandpaper. You can do it with this brush. So whichever way, both accomplishes the same thing. Cleans up the ends real nicely to accept the solder and the flux that we're about to put on it. Now to this pipe, we are going to add this fitting. And these fittings often come with a paper on it, and they leave a residue on there, and it turns it real gross, black color when we start soldering it, but nothing to worry about. It's just a fact of life. Now, you can do this either with a drill or with this tool again, but now that we have the outer end of this pipe clean, now we have to clean the inner end of this one so that both surfaces are well polished, cleaned up, and ready to accept the flux and the solder. And as you can see in there, it gets real shiny, and then you know you've done a good job. All right, next step is we're going to take this into another room, and we'll put flux on it, and we'll solder it. Okay, the next step is to prepare the pipe and the fitting, and to do that we use flux. And this is a goopy deal that we basically, it's a paste that you put on the pipe and the fitting, and you put it all around where the two are going to marry together. And the same with here's the fitting end. And what this flux does is it basically heats up and sucks the solder into this joint, and the flux is integral. Now the only thing that's difficult about doing copper soldering is you have to follow these steps without fail the same way every single time. If you follow all these steps, it'll be perfect. If you don't follow, you skip or skimp on one of these steps, it'll be a failure. So do them all in this order, the same way every time, and you'll have flawless solder jobs. All right, so now we've put flux on both these cleaned parts, and just put them together, and that's all you got to do. Now we have the solder in hand and ready. We'll just get a length of it ready. And then we have a couple choices in propane. You have MAP gas, which burns pretty hot. And then you have propane, which burns a little slower, but it's all good. And then we have an automatic lighter. This thing is real nice. You just press and press and go. It's super convenient. Yeah, there's other ways to light this, but that's the best way to go. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to heat this up. this will start smoking. When this gets to a certain color or a certain hue, it's going to be a little bit, it'll change colors. And by touching I'm going to heat the thicker joint, which is this big piece, and then I'm going to touch the solder to the joint right there. And as it gets hotter, this will just melt and get sucked right into the joint. So, and this is, you'll get to see this as we do it. It'll make a little more sense. Right? We want the point of the flame to just be touching the piece that we're heating. Yeah, so you can, there it's starting to get that good color. It takes a little bit of coordination. There it's going. And then all you have to do is basically touch this to it. And when it's hot, it sucks all the way around there, which is really cool. It does the work for you. And then it's just a matter of making sure it went all the way around. And it did. So now that's blazing hot, so we don't want to touch that. All right, so now you get the idea of what we're trying to accomplish here. That's just the first solder joint that we're going to do. Once this cools and I get the shower valve installed there, we're going to add this. And this is going to end up being the tub spout. And we're going to solder those together. We want this piece to be rigid. That's why we're using copper where everywhere else we're using PEX. But we'll do the same thing with a coupling joint, and we'll solder that one together like that, and we'll be good to go. Hope this helps with your home soldering issues. It just takes the right steps in the right order and a little bit of patience, and you'll have a perfect solder joint every time. Thanks for viewing. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. We've got more videos coming your way.